Hello, I'm Sarah Mundi. I am an accredited counseling psychologist. Welcome to our channel. Today we'll be talking about some tips on how to do an Instagram live. Tip number one is that you should begin and end on time. In case there might be some technical challenges, I recommend starting the testing early, like an hour earlier, so that you're online. You make sure that the internet connectivity is stable, the lighting is good, you've set up the description for the questions. If you're hosting the live with someone else, that you have tried out the hosting before you actually go live, so that everything is as good as can be. Mostly because when you go live on Instagram or even on any other platform, sometimes there may be no technical hitches when you're starting, but as you continue, sometimes those technical hitches come up. So please start early. You and the background team begin at least an hour ahead of time, and then ensure that the guest joins the live a few minutes earlier, so that you can be able to test out everything before you have the actual before you go live with the rest of your audience. Once the live begins, remember to invite the audience to mention where they're joining you from and what they might be hoping to contribute or learn from the conversation that you're having. So, and invite them, and by inviting them, I mean actually mention their names and say thank you so and so for joining us from this part of the country. We are delighted to have you, something like that. So ensure you acknowledge your audience as they're coming in, even as they're joining, even if they don't type to say where they're from. Acknowledge as many of them as possible as the live is beginning, and also invite them to let you know where they're joining from, and they can just type like the name of the city if they don't want to go into a lot of details. When you're setting up the live, remember to put the pin the description of the live as the topic of that live, and also you can consider pinning it as the first comment on the live after the live, so that when someone joins, they can know exactly what this live was about, what was the topic, what was being discussed, and it's very clear from the beginning. And also for people that are just joining the conversation, introduce the topic you want to discuss for the live, and ensure that you break it down so that there's an opening and you have a lot of engaging questions for the audience, so that you can have a very engaging live, even when it's a short time. Some of the tips I would say is you can consider requesting guys, if they like the content, to like tap on the heart or to give you 100% for what they agree on, and just to increase engagement when you're on the live. So have a structure for the conversation topic. What's the opening? Are you set the context for the conversation? Break down the structure. Once you've set the context for the conversation, open it up to the audience to engage with you. Then move into the body of the discussion. Remember to keep summarizing the key points, and then finalize by allowing yourself, the guest you're hosting, the audience, to also share what their parting shots are. A lot of the time, there's a wealth of information and a richness of it in the audience that's actually attending the live that you're hosting. When you're hosting and have a guest on the live, give them time to speak so that there isn't a lot of speaking over each other. So allow the individual to communicate their points up to the end, recap a little bit as you connect it with your own point or as you move the conversation forward, but do avoid speaking up or over each other when the other person is speaking. You have to apply a lot of active listening skills when you're hosting a live. Lastly, read and respond to the comments. Make sure that you're engaging with the audience as they're discussing, and as you are discussing with your guest, also remember that the conversation is between you, your guest, and the audience. So continually and consistently pull them into the conversation by rereading their comments, rereading their questions. You can also remember to add a question tag to your live, so that people can put their questions in the question tag, and it becomes easier to manage when you're doing the engagement with the audience on Instagram. I'm wishing you the very best when you will be going live next, and I hope that these tips are going to help you prepare. Now, in case there's an issue on the live, for example, in case one of the guests you're hosting drops off the call, one of the suggestions I always make is, most of the time you'll see a request from the audience for someone to join the live. You can tell them if you'd like to join the live and maybe ask your question to us or engage with us, and you can accept somebody else for a few minutes as the other guest is trying to figure out what the technical issue that led them to drop off the live was, and that ensures that the conversation continues smoothly. Always avoid leaving the audience hanging, because like I've mentioned, you have the conversation between yourself, your guest, and the audience. Sometimes if your guest has left the conversation or the live, you still have an audience that you're having a conversation with, so you can continue with the conversation with the audience as you give the other person a few minutes to be able to rejoin the call. Most of the time you continue until the end, and then you can go back to give them your guest a call and find out what was going on. Of course, with a lot of grace, remember to tell the audience that, of course, acknowledge that the person, your guest, has left the video, the Instagram live, and that you're giving them a few minutes to rejoin, so that there's a seamless flow in the conversation. The audience does not feel lost. The guest also does not feel lost. So it's a consistent balance. And the other issue that sometimes happens is that there might be darkness, and like there might be a blackout, which is often happens when you've planned a live and there has been no blackout for weeks. So ensure your phone is charged. Ensure, like, if you have a desktop laptop, it's also logged in, just in case one of your devices has a problem. You can quickly jump onto the next device and continue with the conversation as seamlessly as possible. Lastly, be yourself. It's a conversation, and even when you try to be as put together and as composed, remember, be you, and just be and share from your heart, share from your knowledge and your expertise and your skill set, but remember to just be yourself. I wish you the very best with your next IG live. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. If you have any more tips that you'd like to share based on your experience or the experience of some of the lives that you have joined, please also leave it in the comment section. I'm sure it will help someone. We will see you again very, very, very soon.